The evening has come. The room is quiet. The television is on, but you are not really watching it. The dinner dishes sit on the table, half eaten. You pick up your phone, then put it down. Should I call my son? He is probably busy. Should I text my daughter? She has her own life to worry about. And so you sit, looking out the window, watching the clock, doing nothing at all. Dear friends, have you had evenings like this? When the only sound in the house is the ticking of a clock. And that sound feels louder than it should? When you are surrounded by everything you own, and yet feel you have nothing? If you have, then this video was made for you. Perhaps you live alone. Perhaps your partner has passed on. Perhaps your children have moved far away. Perhaps old friendships have slowly faded. Perhaps you can be in a room full of people and still feel entirely, completely alone. Whatever has brought you here tonight, I want you to know something before we begin. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. And you are not as alone as you feel right now. The Buddha understood loneliness. In fact, it was loneliness, suffering, and the deepest questions of human existence that set him on the path to awakening in the first place. And what he discovered, sitting beneath that Bodhi tree more than 2,500 years ago, can help you right now, tonight, in this quiet room. Today I want to share 8 teachings with you. 8 pieces of wisdom drawn from the Buddha's words, from the great teachers who came after him, and from the simple, honest truths that many people have discovered when they stopped running from loneliness and learned to sit with it instead. The first teaching, loneliness is not your fault. The second teaching, solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. The third teaching, expectations are the root of loneliness. The fourth teaching, learn to release the past with gratitude. The fifth teaching, become your own true friend. The sixth teaching, find connection in the natural world. The seventh teaching, honor the small encounters. And the eighth teaching, the most important of all, solitude is the doorway to awakening. Please sit comfortably. Perhaps make yourself a cup of tea. We will take our time today. There is no rush. Let us begin. Dear friends, the very first thing I want to say to you is this. Your loneliness is not your fault. I say this because I know how easy it is to turn loneliness into self-blame. Why don't my children call more often? Did I do something wrong? My friends have all drifted away. Is there something wrong with me? I have been widowed, and now I am alone. Perhaps I simply was not meant for happiness. Other people seem to manage just fine. Why can't I? These thoughts feel so real when loneliness sets in. But they are not the truth. The Buddha taught the first noble truth, which is simply this: suffering is a part of life. He did not say suffering is a punishment. He did not say suffering means you have failed. He said it is simply part of what it means to be human. Loneliness is part of that suffering. And if the first noble truth tells us anything, it is that you are not alone in your suffering. Every person who has ever lived has known loneliness. The young and the old, the wealthy and the poor, the famous and the forgotten, even those surrounded by people, even those who seem, from the outside, to have everything. Loneliness visits everyone. There is a story from the time of the Buddha that I find deeply comforting. A young woman named Kisa Gotami had a son she loved more than her own life. One day, without warning, that child died. Kisa Gotami could not accept it. She carried the child in her arms and walked from door to door in the village, begging for medicine that could bring him back to life. The villagers felt deep compassion for her, but no one could help. Finally, someone told her to go to the Buddha. She ran to him, still carrying her child, and fell at his feet. "Please," she said, "I have heard you are a great healer. Please save my son." The Buddha looked at her with infinite gentleness. "I can help you," he said. "But first, I need something from you. Go into the village and bring me a mustard seed. One small mustard seed. But it must come from a home that has never been touched by death." Kisa Gotami's face lit up with hope. She ran immediately to the first house in the village. "Has anyone in this home ever died?" she asked. "Oh yes," said the woman at the door. "We lost my husband's father just last year." She went to the next house. "Yes, we lost our young son 3 winters ago." The next house. "We lost my mother. It broke our hearts." House after house after house. By the time Kisa Gotami had walked through the entire village, she understood. There was no home untouched by death. There was no home untouched by loss. There was no home untouched by grief. She was not alone in her sorrow. Every single person she had spoken to had known sorrow as well. She laid her child down gently, returned to the Buddha, and became one of his most devoted students. Dear friends, loneliness is like this. If we could go from home to home tonight, knocking on every door, asking, "Does loneliness live here?" every single door would open with a yes. The elderly woman in the apartment upstairs? Yes. The retired man who seems so confident at the community center? Yes. The grandmother surrounded by grandchildren at Sunday dinner? Yes. Even her. You are not uniquely afflicted. You are not being singled out. You are part of a vast human family, every member of which has sat in a quiet room, looked at a phone. They hesitated to pick up, and felt the particular ache of being alone. So please, for this moment, set down the self-blame. Look at your loneliness the way the Buddha looked at Kisa Gotami. With gentleness, with compassion, not with judgment. Say to yourself, gently and honestly, "I am lonely right now." And that is okay. It does not mean I am broken. It means I am human. This is the beginning of everything. Let us move to the second teaching. This one may surprise you. Solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. They feel the same sometimes. They look the same from the outside. Both involve being alone, but they are entirely different experiences. Loneliness is a feeling of absence. Something is missing. Someone is missing. There is a hollow place where connection should be. Solitude, on the other hand, is a feeling of presence. You are present with yourself. You are present with the silence. You are present with the deeper currents of your own life. Loneliness says I am alone and I do not want to be. Solitude says I am alone and I am at peace with it. The great 13th century Zen master Dogen wrote, "To study the Buddha way is to study the self. You cannot study the self when you are constantly surrounded by noise and other people. You need quiet. You need stillness. You need, in other words, solitude." The Buddha himself spent 6 years in deep solitude before his awakening. 6 years, not because he could not find community, but because the deepest truths cannot be found in the marketplace. They can only be found in the quiet space within. Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Vietnamese Buddhist teacher, often wrote about what he called the island within. When things around you are chaotic, when you feel adrift, when loneliness sweeps over you. He taught that you could find refuge by going inward. Take refuge in the island of self, he wrote. There is a safe island inside each of us. That island is always there. Whether your children call or not. Whether your friends remember your birthday or not. Whether the house is full or empty. The island is there, and solitude is how we learn to find it. Let me share a simple story with you. A woman in her late 60s found herself suddenly living alone after her husband of 40 years passed away. For the first few months, she could not bear the silence. She kept the television on at all hours. She called friends at odd times, just to hear a voice. She would do anything to fill the quiet, but the quiet always came back. One morning, her neighbor, a gentle older woman who practiced Buddhism, came by with a small plant. "Plant this on your windowsill," she said. "Water it every morning. Just sit with it for a few minutes. Nothing else." The woman thought it was a strange suggestion, but she was willing to try anything. And so every morning she sat by her window with her little plant. At first she felt ridiculous. Then she began to notice things she had never noticed before. The quality of the morning light. The sound of birds she had never identified before. The way the plant itself seemed to turn slightly toward the sun each day. After a month, she realized something remarkable had happened. She was no longer dreading the mornings. She was looking forward to them. The silence had not disappeared, but she had changed her relationship with it. It was no longer an enemy to be defeated. It was a companion. It was, in a very real sense, her practice. Dear friends, if you are living alone, I want to gently suggest something. The silence in your home is not punishment. It is an invitation to know yourself more deeply than you ever have. An invitation to discover what Thich Nhat Hanh called the island within. An invitation to sit, even for 10 minutes each morning, with the quiet. And to let it teach you something. Try this just once today. When you wake up tomorrow morning, before you turn on the television, or reach for your phone, sit quietly for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. Look out the window if you like. Listen to whatever sounds are present. Feel your breath moving in and out of your body. And remind yourself this is not emptiness. This is spaciousness. There is a difference. Now let us come to the third teaching. This one, I will warn you gently, may touch a tender place. But it is important, because without this understanding, loneliness is very hard to heal. Expectations are the root of loneliness. Think about the moments when you feel most lonely. More often than not, there is an expectation underneath the feeling. I expected my son to call on Sunday, and he did not. I feel lonely. I expected my friends to invite me, and they forgot. I feel lonely. I expected my grandchildren to want to spend time with me, and they seem distracted. I feel lonely. I expected this stage of life to feel like something, and it does not feel that way at all. I feel lonely. The expectation comes first. The disappointment follows. The loneliness is the wound left behind. The Diamond Sutra, one of the most beloved texts in Buddhist teaching, contains a phrase that has stayed with practitioners for thousands of years. In Sanskrit it is rendered as, produce a thought without dwelling anywhere. In simpler terms, act without attachment to outcomes. Do without expecting. Give without calculating what you will receive. Love without keeping score. This is profoundly difficult. I do not pretend otherwise. We are human. We invest ourselves in our relationships. We give our hearts. Of course, we hope for something in return. But the Buddha was teaching us something very precise here. When we give love or attention or care while secretly expecting a specific response, we have already created the conditions for disappointment. When we give freely, without that hidden ledger, the giving itself becomes complete. The result, whatever it is, cannot diminish what has already been given. Think of a flower in a garden. When it blooms, does it calculate which direction the wind will carry its fragrance? Does it decide only to open on days when people are walking nearby to notice it? No, it simply blooms. The fragrance goes where it goes. The beauty exists whether anyone sees it or not. This is the teaching. Let me bring this into something very practical. Many of us have complicated feelings about adult children. We raised them. We sacrificed for them. We were there for every scraped knee and broken heart. And now they are busy. They have their own lives, their own families, their own pressures. They call less than we would like. They visit less than we hoped. This is an almost universal experience among parents in later life. And it carries a particular kind of loneliness, because it is tangled up with love and history and expectation. Here is what I want to offer you. Your love for your children does not need to be returned in a specific way in order to be real. Your love for them is not a transaction. It is not a loan awaiting repayment. It was always a gift, freely given. When we release the expectation of how that love should be returned, something unexpected happens. We still love them just as much. But we suffer less. The love becomes cleaner, lighter. It no longer carries the weight of disappointment. Try this, dear friends. The next time you reach out to someone, a child, a friend, a relative, set a small, quiet intention before you contact them. Say to yourself, I am reaching out because I care about this person. Whatever response comes, or does not come, is completely okay. I am giving, not waiting. This is very hard at first. Be patient with yourself. But over time, this simple shift can transform your experience of loneliness more than almost anything else. The fourth teaching is closely related to the third. It is about the past, and about the art of releasing it with grace. Dear friends, I wonder if part of what makes your loneliness so heavy is the comparison between now and then. Then, when the house was full of noise and children. Then, when your partner was still beside you. Then, when your friendships were close and frequent and effortless. Then, when you felt needed. Then, when life felt full. And now. The comparison between then and now can be devastating. Because the then feels so rich, and the now feels so empty by contrast. The Buddha taught impermanence as one of the three fundamental marks of existence. Everything changes, everything arises and passes away. The season of spring gives way to summer, summer to autumn, autumn to winter. This is not a tragedy. It is the nature of things. The years when your children were at home and needed you every moment were a season. A beautiful, exhausting, irreplaceable season. The years of your partnership, however long they lasted, were a season. The friendships of your middle years were a season. These seasons were real. They were precious. They shaped everything you are. And they have passed, not because something went wrong, but because that is what seasons do. The great teacher Ajahn Chah, one of the most beloved Theravada masters of the 20th century, used to say that life is like a glass of water. He would hold up a glass and say, "To me, this glass is already broken. I enjoy it. I drink water from it. But I know that one day the wind may blow it off the shelf, or my hand may knock it over. And when that happens, I say, of course. That is what happens to glasses. When we hold our relationships and our circumstances. The way Ajahn Chah held that glass, understanding from the beginning that they are temporary, we do not love them less. We love them more, because we know they will not last forever. And when they change, or end, we can grieve them honestly and release them with gratitude. Not bitterness, not resentment, not the crushing weight of, "It should not have ended," but gratitude. We had that season, and it was good. For those of you who have lost a partner, I want to speak directly to you for a moment. Grief is not something to rush. Do not let anyone tell you there is a timeline. Miss your person. Miss them as long as you need to. But in the missing, try also to hold the gratitude. We had time together. Not enough, never enough. But it was real, and I carry it with me. That person, wherever they are now, wants you to go on. They want you to find moments of joy again. They want you to be more than a guardian of grief. They want you to live. For those of you missing old friendships that have faded with time, I offer this. Every friendship served its season. Some people come into our lives for a reason. Some for a season. Very few for a lifetime. And all of them, every single one, brought something that changed you. Let them go with love. And trust that new connections are still possible. They are. I will show you how in just a little while. But first, let us pause. Dear friends, we have now covered 4 teachings together. Let me offer a brief summary before we continue. The first teaching, loneliness is not your fault. It is a universal part of human experience. You are not broken. You are not being punished. You are simply human, and every human knows this ache. The second teaching, solitude and loneliness are not the same. Solitude is the quiet space where self-knowledge lives. The silence in your home is not an absence. It is an invitation. The third teaching, expectations create loneliness. When we give without demanding a specific return, our love becomes clean and light. We suffer less. The fourth teaching, every season of life is temporary. Hold what you love with open hands. When seasons end, release them with gratitude, not bitterness. Now I would like to offer you a moment to breathe. Please, if you are comfortable, sit up gently. Feel your feet on the floor. Relax your shoulders. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Let it fill your belly first, then your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let it go slowly through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. One more time. Breathing in, receiving this moment. Breathing out, releasing everything that does not need to stay. Very good. We have 4 more teachings to explore. The 5th, becoming your own true friend. The 6th, finding connection in the natural world. The 7th, honoring the small encounters. And the 8th, the one I most want you to hear. Let us continue. The 5th teaching may be the most radical thing I say today. You need to become your own best friend. Think about what it means to have a truly good friend. A good friend listens without judgment. A good friend reminds you of your strengths when you have forgotten them. A good friend does not abandon you when you make mistakes. A good friend takes your feelings seriously. A good friend wants good things for you. Now I want you to consider, do you treat yourself this way? Be honest. For most of us, the answer is no. We treat ourselves with a harshness we would never inflict on someone we loved. We repeat criticisms in our own minds that we would never say to a friend. You should have done better. You wasted your life. No wonder you are alone. You are a burden. These thoughts feel true. They feel like honesty, but they are not honesty. They are cruelty, and they make loneliness worse. The Buddha's final instruction, spoken on the day he died, was this: be a lamp unto yourself. Not wait for someone else to light your way. Not make yourself dependent on another person's warmth. Be a lamp unto yourself. This is not a cold instruction. It is a deeply loving one. It is saying you have everything you need. The light is already in you. Learn to tend it. How do we tend the inner light when loneliness has dimmed it? Begin with how you speak to yourself. Tomorrow morning, look in the mirror. Not to criticize, not to catalog what time has done. Just look and say, quietly, I am still here. I have survived everything that has come my way. I am more resilient than I know. And today, I am going to be kind to myself. It will feel strange at first. That is normal. We are not accustomed to this kind of self-kindness. But our minds are listening to everything we say. They believe what they hear, especially from us. Begin to tell yourself a different story. Second, do at least one thing each day that is entirely for your own enjoyment. Not for duty, not for anyone else, for you. Cook a meal you love. Read something that interests you. Sit in the sun. Listen to music you enjoy. Walk somewhere beautiful. These are not indulgences. They are acts of self-respect. They are how you say to yourself, my enjoyment matters. My comfort matters. I matter. Third, practice metta, the ancient Buddhist practice of loving kindness. It begins with yourself. Close your eyes if you are comfortable. Picture yourself, clearly, as you are right now. And offer yourself these wishes, sincerely. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be at peace. May I be free from loneliness and fear. May I know that I am enough. Stay with that for a moment. Feel what it is like to offer genuine kindness to yourself. If resistance arises, if a voice says, "You don't deserve this," notice that voice with compassion. It is the voice of old pain, not truth. Breathe through it. Return to the phrases. May I be happy. May I be at peace. May I be free. This practice, done daily, even for just 5 minutes, will slowly, gently change the temperature of your inner life. You will begin to experience yourself less as someone who is alone and more as someone who is in good company, their own. And that is not a small thing. That is everything. Now let us come to the sixth teaching. When human connection feels far away, there is another kind of connection that is always available. The natural world. The Flower Garland Sutra, one of the great texts of Mahayana Buddhism, teaches what is sometimes called the doctrine of interdependence. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything arises in relationship to everything else. The flower depends on the rain, the sun, the soil, the bee. The bee depends on the flower. The river depends on the mountain. The mountain depends on the rain. We depend on the air. The air depends on the trees. Everything is connected to everything else in a vast, intricate web of mutual arising. And that includes you. Even sitting alone in your quiet room, you are connected to this web. The air you are breathing right now has been breathed by countless other beings. The water in your body has traveled through rivers and clouds and soil and rain. The sunlight coming through your window has traveled 93 million miles to reach your face. You are not separate from any of this. You are part of it. When loneliness tells you that you are isolated, that you are cut off, that you are forgotten, the natural world has a different answer. Go outside and listen to it. Even if it is just a small park. Even if it is just a patch of sky visible from your window. Even if it is just a single plant on your windowsill. The natural world does not judge you. It does not require you to perform or achieve or explain yourself. It simply receives you. A retired schoolteacher I once heard about found himself deeply lonely after his wife of many years had passed. He had never been interested in nature particularly. He was a city person. But his doctor told him he needed to walk more. So he started walking in the park near his apartment. At first he walked with his head down, thinking only of his grief. But gradually, day by day, he began to look up. He noticed a particular oak tree near the pond. He started stopping by it every morning. He did not know why. Something about the solidity of it. The way it had clearly been there for decades, long before his troubles, and would be there long after. He started talking to it. He felt embarrassed at first. But no one was watching, and it helped. He told the tree about his wife. He told the tree about his children. He told the tree about his fears for the future. The tree, of course, said nothing. But the man said that something in its silence answered him. Being with that tree, he said later, made me feel less alone than almost anything else. Because it reminded me that I was part of something much larger than my own small story. Dear friends, you do not need a garden. You do not need to live in the countryside. You just need to step outside and look up. Try this practice. Once a day, go somewhere you can be in contact with the natural world. Even briefly, stand under the sky. Feel the air on your face. Notice something growing, something flying, something moving. And say quietly to yourself, I am part of this. I belong to this world. I am not alone. The seventh teaching is about something small. Beautifully, powerfully small. Dear friends, we sometimes dismiss the brief and seemingly insignificant encounters of daily life. The cashier at the grocery store. The neighbor we pass in the hallway. The mail carrier. The person sitting on the bench across from us in the park. We do not count these as real connection. We are waiting for something deeper, something meaningful, something significant. But the Zen tradition would challenge that waiting. There is a famous story about the Tang dynasty Zen master Zhaozhou, known in Japanese as Joshu. Students would come to him from far away, seeking profound teachings about the nature of reality and enlightenment. And his response, every time, was simply, "Have a cup of tea. Have you eaten? Then eat. Are you tired? Then rest. Is there a person in front of you? Then meet them. This very moment, this very person, this very cup of tea." This is where the teaching lives. Not somewhere more important. Not at some future date when the right conditions arrive. Here, now. This. The Japanese phrase, ichi-go ichi-e, means, one time, one meeting. Every encounter you have is unrepeatable. This exact moment, with this exact person, in this exact configuration of circumstances, will never happen again. When we understand this, even a brief exchange with a stranger becomes precious. The smile you give the cashier. The moment you hold the door for someone. The time you let someone go ahead of you in line. The afternoon you finally knock on your neighbor's door to say hello. These are not nothing. These are human contact. These are the small threads from which the fabric of belonging is woven. And belonging is the opposite of loneliness. Here are some practical suggestions for cultivating small connections. First, make eye contact and smile. Not in a forced way. Just genuinely. Most people are so starved for acknowledgement that a real smile from a stranger can change their entire day. And it will change yours too. Second, learn one name. If you go somewhere regularly, a coffee shop, a pharmacy, a church, a community center, learn one person's name. Use it. Good morning, David. How are you, Maria? This is the seed from which friendship grows. Third, if you attend a place of worship or a community class or any kind of group, stay afterwards. Even for 15 minutes. The connections made in the informal space after an event are often more real than anything that happened during it. Fourth, consider volunteering. This deserves special mention. When we move our attention from, I am lonely, to, how can I be useful to someone today, something remarkable happens. The loneliness does not disappear immediately, but it loosens its grip. Because usefulness creates meaning, and meaning is a powerful antidote to emptiness. Fifth, and I say this especially for those who may be hesitant. An online community counts. A book club that meets over video call. A Buddhist discussion group online. A hobby forum. These are real people. The connection is real. Do not dismiss it because it does not happen in person. Dear friends, do not wait for a profound, soulful friendship to appear fully formed. Begin with small things, a smile, a name, a cup of tea offered to a neighbor. These are seeds. Be patient with them, they grow. Now we come to the eighth teaching, the last one. The one I most want you to carry with you when this video ends. Dear friends, I want to tell you something that might seem strange. Your loneliness, this very loneliness that brought you here tonight, may be one of the most important things that has ever happened to you. Not because suffering is good, but because loneliness, when we stop running from it, when we actually sit down and look at it, can take us somewhere that comfort never could. It can take us all the way home, to ourselves. The Buddha spent 6 years in the forest before his great awakening. 6 years of what, from the outside, must have looked like profound loneliness. No family, no home, no comforts. No certainties, nothing to hold on to, and it was in that radical aloneness, in that complete stripping away of every external source of identity and comfort, that he finally found the unchanging ground beneath everything. He called it the Dhamma, the truth, the way things actually are, and he discovered that this ground had always been there. Beneath the noise, beneath the relationships, beneath the busyness, beneath the fear, it was always there, waiting to be found. It could only be found in stillness. It could only be found alone. The great Zen teacher Huang Po wrote, "The foolish reject what they see, not what they think. The wise reject what they think, not what they see." We think loneliness is an enemy to be defeated. We think that once we have enough contact, enough company, enough distraction, the loneliness will be gone and life will be good. But look more carefully. What if loneliness is not telling you that something is missing? What if it is telling you to look inward? What if the hollow feeling is not absence but invitation? The Sufi mystic Rumi, though not a Buddhist, expressed this perfectly when he wrote of the reed flute, cut from its reed bed, crying its longing. He said the flute's cry is not only grief. It is also the sound of yearning for its source, the longing to return home, not to a place, not to another person, but to the deepest part of itself. When we feel lonely, we are feeling that cry. The question is, where do we turn with it? Do we turn outward, frantically seeking to fill the emptiness with noise and distraction? Or do we turn inward, carefully, bravely, curiously, to see what is actually there? In Buddhist teaching, we each have what is called Buddha nature, an essential quality of awareness, clarity, and goodness that is not created by circumstances and cannot be destroyed by them. It does not depend on whether your children call. It does not depend on whether your partner is beside you. It does not depend on how many friends you have. It is there, right now, in you, in the quiet, waiting. The sixth patriarch Huineng, who became one of the greatest Chan masters in history, was an illiterate woodcutter. He had no formal education, no wealth, no status. He lived alone, supporting his mother. His life, from the outside, looked poor and lonely. But when he happened to hear a single line from the Diamond Sutra recited by a stranger, his mind opened. He understood, not because he was extraordinary, but because he was quiet enough inside to hear. Dear friends, you are quiet enough to hear. That is why you are here tonight. That is why you sought this out. Something in you is ready. Ready to stop running from the quiet, ready to turn toward it, ready to see what is actually in there. Let me give you a practice for this. It is simple. When loneliness arrives, instead of reaching immediately for the remote control, or the phone, or the refrigerator, pause. Just for a moment, sit down, feel the loneliness in your body. Where is it located? Your chest? Your stomach? Your throat? What does it feel like? Heavy? Cold? Hollow? Do not try to fix it. Do not try to explain it. Just observe it, with the same gentle curiosity you might bring to watching clouds move across the sky. Notice that you are the one observing the loneliness. Which means you are not only the loneliness. There is something in you that watches, something aware, something spacious, something that is not diminished by the feeling, even if the feeling is very strong. Stay with this for 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. At the end of 3 minutes, breathe deeply. And notice whether the loneliness has shifted at all. Usually, it has, not disappeared, but softened, because being seen, even by yourself, even just for 3 minutes, is a form of connection. And connection, even with your own awareness, relieves loneliness. This is the beginning of what the tradition calls resting in awareness. And it is available to you at any moment. No conditions required, no companions necessary. Right here, right now, in this quiet room. The Zen master Yunmen said, "Every day is a good day." He did not mean every day is pleasant. He did not mean every day is easy. He meant, every day contains the fullness of life. Even the lonely days, especially the lonely days, because those are the days that push us past the surface of things. Those are the days that make us ask the real questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What matters to me, truly? What is left when everything external is stripped away? What remains? The answer, when we are brave enough to sit with the question long enough, is always surprising. What remains is warmth. What remains is awareness. What remains is a quiet, unshakable knowing that we are here. That we are real. That we matter. Not because someone else has confirmed it, but because we simply are. Every day is a good day. Even this one. Even the lonely ones. Especially those. Dear friends, we have journeyed a long way together today. Let me offer you a final summary of everything we have explored. The first teaching, loneliness is not your fault. It is not a punishment or a failure. It is a universal part of being human. You are not alone in feeling alone. The second teaching, solitude and loneliness are not the same. Solitude is the quiet space where self-knowledge lives. The silence in your home is not emptiness. It is spaciousness. It is an invitation. The third teaching, expectations create loneliness. Give without attaching to outcomes. Love without keeping score. When you act without demanding a specific return, the giving itself becomes complete. The fourth teaching, every season of life is impermanent. Hold what you love with open hands. When seasons end, release them with gratitude. Honor what was, and trust what is coming. The fifth teaching, become your own best friend. Be a lamp unto yourself. Speak to yourself with kindness. Do things that bring you joy. Practice metta, loving kindness, beginning with yourself. The sixth teaching, the natural world is always available to you. Step outside. Look up. Let the sky remind you that you are part of something vast and interconnected. You are never truly separate. The seventh teaching, small encounters matter. One smile, one name, one cup of tea. These are not substitutes for deep friendship. They are seeds. Be patient. Plant them. The eighth teaching, solitude is the doorway to awakening. Your loneliness is not only a wound. It is an invitation to turn inward. To find the ground that was always there beneath the noise. To discover the awareness that is not diminished by any circumstance. To come home. Dear friends, you do not need to remember all 8 of these today. If just one thing I said this evening lands in your heart, that is enough. Hold it there. Return to it tomorrow. Let it grow. The path of practice is not about achieving anything dramatic or sudden. It is about showing up, day after day, with curiosity and kindness. Sitting with the quiet, being gentle with yourself, noticing the small beauties, breathing, returning, again and again. You have done hard things in your life. You know how to endure. You know how to keep going. What I am inviting you to do now is not just to endure, but to discover that there is something in you that is genuinely at peace, right here, in the middle of everything. It may take time. It may take practice, but it is there. I promise you, it is there. And it has been there all along. If this video has been helpful to you, please consider leaving a like. If you are not yet subscribed, I would be grateful if you would. And please, leave a comment below. Tell me what resonates with you. Tell me what you struggle with. Tell me what questions you carry. I read every message, and your words help shape future videos. Whatever you are carrying tonight, I hope you can set a little of it down. I hope you can take one slow breath. I hope you can look at the quiet in your home, just for a moment, and see it not as absence but as space. Space in which something true can finally be heard. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at peace. May you know that you are not as alone as you sometimes feel. May all beings everywhere be free from suffering. May all beings everywhere find peace. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, be well. Be gentle with yourself. And remember, every day is a good day. Every single one.